I would like to point out some irony here. I think we're all grown men and don't deserve to be censored for a couple of cuss words that boost the strength of our fighting words. But the idea of a grown man fighting over a couple of bleeps is just funny to me, and I just happen to be that man. With that, I've taken time out of tonight's show to broadcast my own beliefs. Now, a person that comes to mind that might not agree with this is Ethan Young. But seeing as he is too busy on a wild goose chase, I've got enough time to enlighten you all about this man, a threat against the NIWA survival. It's funny how rules work around here. Much like the other hypocrites, when Ethan Young returned, he became the good guy. And immediately I became the bad guy. Because when everybody spoke out against me and kept calling me Alex Craven, I gave you Alex Craven, and that made me the bad guy. Well, if the bad guy is the only one that makes sense around here, I guess I can be the bad guy. I'll be the baddest guy you ever met. A force you will not want to reckon with. From this day forward, actions will be taken, and they might not be agreed with. But since when am I one to look for approval? Obviously, I busted my own fist up right before upcoming pay-per-view Imperial Games to make a point. I've registered the fact I have a match with JP, in which clearly this fist is a testament to Ethan Young and the fact that he wants to rid the NIWA of someone he doesn't and will never understand, because I don't see things his way, and that is where he is wrong. I clearly see things his way, and that is why I'm fighting against him. It's him that doesn't see things my way. I stand before you, and I definitely make this clear, that you can censor me, but you cannot censor my freedom of speech. The revolution has a voice, and you're listening to it. I'm a true revolutionary because I have changed this company and its values, whether you like it and accept it, or hate it and don't. Regardless, it stands, and there's nothing that can be done to change it. I'm sure Ethan won't agree with it, but obviously, I don't care what he thinks. Well, that is also where he is wrong. Because when Infinity showed that he cared about me enough to want to change me back into the radical, that's when I cared. However, that is until I figured out it wasn't him trying to save me. It was the idea of him being the one that saved me. That is what drove me to end his legacy. That someone so selfish is afraid to admit to a mistake, that all the good their legacy did in this company also did a lot of bad. What he tried to do to me was one of those things. Using your legacy to try and make a plight that you are a savior, when you are clearly not, and much like then, and much like now, I don't need to be saved. Not by anyone, especially not by you. See, this is something that people fail to grasp. Adopt a different name, but hold the same meaning. You see me as something less of what I was when I donned a former moniker. But I'm quite the same, because I am radical, and will do things that you won't agree with. And something you don't agree with is the fact that I've saved myself from being like the herd in the back, wandering around aimlessly looking for direction. I lead my direction, and I think a few guys in the back picked up what I was laying down, because as you see the result, they stood up to your bull too. What I speak of is justified by the actions you've taken. You came back as Ethan Young to live out the end of Infinity days when you had power. But see, once I retired you, it truly was the end of Infinity and that power you had. Oh, don't get me wrong. I understand full well the power you have now, but it's different. It's evil at the root. Things are misconstrued. You've sworn to defy the board tonight in any way possible. Ethan Young, to do so, does that mean you're going to cut off your own head? Are you going to be your own executioner? Allow me to read off a few names of the board of directors for those ill-informed. Cameron Reno, Chairman of the Board, Chief Operating Officer. Edmund Kaiser, Chief Financial Officer. Victoria Del Rios, Executive Vice President, Marketing. Lucille Duvall, Executive Vice President, Internal Relations. Ann Bryant, Director of Internal Affairs. Michelle Fredericks, Executive Vice President, Television Programming. Jason Lawrence, Executive Vice President, Talent Relations. Joe Butler, Executive Vice President, Creative. Sonia Summers Young, Executive Vice President, Business. And Ethan Young, Chief Executive Officer. If you didn't know, now you know. The same man threatening to defy the board is a part of it. A fool trying to fool you, a sheep in wolf's fur, pretending to fight for you when he is against you. He's a part of those that see themselves as the masterminds of this company, the masters of puppets. The men that see themselves on a higher plateau than the rest of us. Fear not, Erosion will take care of that. It will bring those suits and ties to a level we are on and force them to face their fate. The fallen is our problem, but a bigger problem is the ones that allow them to exist under contract, allow them to take over for profit, whilst those that fight against the establishment are thrown at these wolves, while the very sheep hiding in their fur overlook their actions and cast that first stone for every action we make as a rebuttal to the fallen's threats. It's time to unveil the masked men. Each member of the board dons a mask and attends the fallen's masquerade. So remember this. As Ethan Young stands erect on the pulpit, preaching to a multitude of social degenerates behind amity-colored shades that conceal a power-hungry gaze, intent on capturing the devotion of his followers, meticulously reconstructing morals and beliefs, serving as your quick fix to the depression known as oppression. His mouth will form words held in high regard like holy scriptures. He is a compass of morality. Those shades are a hypocrite's masquerade of virtue, as his lips spin webs of intricate fascinations in the hearts, minds, and souls of generations, preying upon the vulnerabilities of the abused. He'll be the first to say, "If you want me to be your friend, I will be your friend. If you want me to be your hero, I will be your hero. If you want me to be your savior, I will be your savior. And if you want me to be your God, well, I will be your God." And you'll believe. You'll become blind fanatics under his divine sovereignty, and he'll become the transcendent seraphim whose radiance seems to wash away that of the fallen's grim takeover nearly 2 years ago. The pain, the suffering, the sorrow, all of it will lift off your backs over that ill-fated journey to NIWA's plummet to the darkest depths, leaving behind your unity, your freedom, and your voice. To create a death trap disguised as a utopia, his voice reverberates in your eardrums every waking moment because he fears the loss of that power. And when it fades, a simple solution is offered in the form of Kool-Aid mixed with poison. But it won't be the poison that kills you people. It'll be his tongue, laced with a toxin that slowly contaminates the psyche of thousands, waging psychological warfare on innocence. Your God is actually the devil in disguise, wearing preacher's garments and those ebony-colored shades we talked about earlier. You people will use death as an exit to escape, but not into salvation, but onto damnation. And Ethan will watch the life dissipate out of the quivering bodies of you followers, before he will finally put a gun to his head and blow what little brains he has left out of his cranium. So the moral of the story is, with great power comes great responsibility. Wise words from Uncle Ben. So why have we given this power to an irresponsible, self-glorified megalomaniac? That is beyond a fathom of my thoughts. But I can tell you it wasn't us who chose that. No, it was behind closed doors. And let those doors open right here and right now. This is my proclamation for you, Ethan. The one thing I have absolute control over is the right to infinity. The only way you can ever get that immortality back is through me. And as far as it stands, you will never become immortal again as long as you hold a position of power in New International Wrestling Alliance. You want infinity back? Well, first you have to do something I don't quite see you doing. You have to retire from your position as CEO and General Manager. There's no other way around it. There's no persuading me with propositions, title shots, empty threats, or any other profit regarding a businessman's tactics, the ethics, and the art of deception. I don't negotiate with terrorists, Ethan. And don't mistake me for one, because I'm fighting for what I believe in, and that's freedom. As for you, it is not clear what you fight for, but I'm sure we'll all hear about it when you come up with a clever dodge to my new look on perspective at hindsight. I'm sure you'll find a way to have these people see it through your eyes, through your present, because let's be honest, in the past you've proven what power does to you. It makes you hungry, it fills you with greed, it makes you immortal. So as you pull the covers over the elephant in the room, as you pull the sheets over these children's eyes and tell them go back to sleep, and it'll all be okay, that you'll be the one to take care of it. You'll carry onward to deceive these people through your false charade of fighting an imaginary probation. If this probation was of really any threat to you, I wouldn't see you doing something I would. I wouldn't see you becoming a radical. I've spoken. Oh, and for NIWA censors,